I'm Renee Wansdronk. I'm an architect from Amsterdam. So it's a classic architecture, buildings, not AI or computers. So I developed a so-called solar energy zero-emission building concept, including seasonal storage, cooperated with many companies like Enexis and so on. So they are in fact under mandate, so they're not allowed to produce energy, so finally are not allowed to do my concept. So the technology readiness level is quite high. I'm copying the Earth. So the Earth is heated on day side, it's cooling itself by infrared radiation, and the two effects give our today Earth temperature. I'm using that to heat the southern facade and to cool the northern facade, store it in the building so that it are energy producing buildings. Technology readiness level is quite high because it's a big trial and error process, co-financed by many partners like the Dutch government, the European Commission and so on. So it's now a key innovation in the Smart Cities and Communities platform, being a so-called energy storage system without energy losses and the so-called lowest exergy losses. And that means that, and that's actually what I want to share, which is possibly close to Nature 2.0, that if you look to energy, it is all about quality. So we use natural gas to heat something from 0 outside to 20 inside, having a potential temperature of 2,500 degrees. So in fact, we lose every day 95% of the quality of natural gas. I deal with the sun, so if you go to the beach, you want 1 kilowatt-hour body heat, you just lay down. If you want the same 1 kilowatt-hour in electricity, the sun say, I don't deliver, and you have to pay. So in fact, the sun is not dealing on energy, the volume you require or ask is dealing on quality. So the higher the quality you ask, the more you pay. So now my question. I make buildings with these two facades and I store energy in water columns in the core. That costs you per house around 20,000 euro, which means it is 3 euro per kilowatt hour, and due to this low exergy characteristic, it is 100-fold cheaper than batteries, which is 300 euro per kilowatt hour. Even though it is 20,000 euros, so what I'm thinking about is to co-finance that with carbon credits. Until now, carbon credits, going back to Kyoto Protocol, it's only, let's say, accessible for larger industries. That's how it's organized. But if you look to the strategy of the emission trade system of Europe, it's going down to smaller companies, big buildings, and small buildings. So my point here is, and then I go to the AI or perhaps the blockchain area, how to make a blockchain carbon credit wallet, so in Dutch, portemonnee, for individuals, house by house. So what I actually see to co-finance this 20,000 euros, you could earn money, this is all still about money in our today economy, you could earn money with the house by being zero emission, but how to make the carbon credits accessible for the house. So the house is the owner of the wallet, so that we go to the world of things, where the house is owning the wallet, co-funding its own energy storage. So a blockchain carbon credit wallet for individuals, house by house. And I'm now, because I'm quite new in this area, I'm looking for people who like to execute it and to help to build that wallet. So that's my question to both of three of you. I will be there on 5th of February. Abe from Odyssey, which is the hackathon, linked me to your community. And yeah, so that's it.
Awesome idea.
Yeah, I really like it. No, I'm pretty sure that there are actually a couple of people in our community that are very into energy saving solutions as well. As for how you would do that on a high level overview, you'd probably go the same route that we went with Ethereum, and basically just create like an Ethereum address for these houses that are stored on servers that are in these houses. And then they all have their own, address to start with. But what you would probably also want is to have some sort of a second layer system on top of this that can monitor and know how a region of houses like this is actually doing and what they're actually earning maybe together. And maybe if they have like too much energy that they can't, lose, they can basically just sell this back into the net to maybe other people that don't have that environment friendly houses, and they could use that energy and then trade basically with their locals amongst each other perhaps. So you can have the wallets, and that's then the first step of that, and then you have the second layer where you can monitor all of this that's going on, and you can, based on that, have these rewards and systems created within a local community or a larger whole to manage that perhaps. And I think that that system could be also AI driven, of course, to maybe predict where more energy needs are occurring and maybe where energy shortages are also, happening, and how that, evolves into the future.
I think just very quickly to add, there are several trends that people are observing in the blockchain space. Number one, tokenizing of real world assets, or generally tokenizing almost everything, right? Because of fractional ownership, you can then split that out and trade it between one party and another. So the token would allow you to do that. But more than that, I think what's really interesting about your idea is you're tapping on waste. I mean, energy that is being wasted and not necessarily used. At a broader, higher level, it is a little bit crazy to think that the Earth globally, if you wanted to solve, going to Jan Pieter's point about ecosystems, right? Why doesn't Earth have her own currency that actually benefits the ecosystem? It doesn't exist. We all have individual currencies designed to purchase and function in society, but there's a new stakeholder right now that we have begun to unravel and understand, and that's the Earth, the climate. And as that stakeholder is part of the conversations and becoming more important today, how can you use blockchain technology to facilitate that conversation and have that positive behavior be impacted? So I think, you need an Earth coin or a carbon coin or whatever you want to call it, right? But the idea would be to push the boundaries and educate citizens on how they can effectively and creatively use it. So that's something that's very much needed, and I think it's great that you're getting these sort of ideas here.
I like your idea a lot, but of course, in Nature 2.0 we want to make everything crazier. The first concept I would invite you to look at is terrazero.org. It's a self-owned forest where the forest, with help of, in this case, a few artists, created a solution where there's a picture of a satellite every half year that determines which trees to sell. A lumberjack goes to an auction, pays for the tree, gets the location, gets the wood, and the thing has an incoming money stream. Your narrative was all about waste, but if you look at the building as like the buildings we are in today, everything I change in this building becomes waste. Where, as I have played with Lego in my youth, I have this picture of rebuilding houses using modularity. So can you make the idea more modular? And maybe we have some people from Crya here who won the last hackathon, and they come up with a concept of emergent cities. Cities that start to exist and disappear again. And they said, this is not a big step because we already have them today. We call them festivals or refugee camps. Or we look what the military does. On an infrastructure of nothing, you can build a city where people can live for 5 days, 10,000 people, and then it moves on again. Imagine that you have self-owning emergent houses who solve the energy problem, like you said, and they are built of the same blocks, and they could buy more houses. Then investing, living in those houses helps the people to all get modular energy neutral houses. So on February 5th, these would be the concepts we are working on. Okay, how can we build them? How would this design be radically different from the cost-effective way we build houses today? Because you will find out that those systems are more about resilience. And finding out about resilience is then again something where the AI becomes very important. But I love the fact that you will be there on February 5th.
I will be there, and I try to be everywhere now. Going back to the network thing, because it's low exergy, it costs you electricity to transport heat. So normally electricity, that's a network thing. You can buy and sell electricity, so that's very close to what you, I think, addressed. The point with heat is that it is that low exergy, so that the value is that low that it costs you too much electricity to transport it. So point one is you should avoid transport of heat. So that's why we solve it with one single house, which is actually, let's say, for the implementation an advantage, because you can go from individual to individual. I don't need to have 1,000 friends to, let's say, establish an underground storage, which needs 1,000 houses, for example. So it's not a network-alike approach, it's more a single house approach, where you try to find co-finance for the storage, which you cannot buy or sell. It's simply about that you avoid emission. So the big value here is that it is zero emission. So it's not energy neutral, not emission neutral, it's simply zero emission. About waste, one of the characteristics is that in this energy storage we use the waste, there is waste energy. So to give you a feeling about the numbers, we store only 8 gigajoule per year, and we lose 11. So we lose more than 50% out of this column, because that's just physics. And we cannot change that. It's insulation, a half meter, and that's it. We use that as building heating. So in fact, the energy losses of the storage, seasonal storage, are used as building heating. So that's our, let's say, waste approach. And going to the trees, that's actually what Abe mentioned. That's why I'm here. So I should study that, how that works. And if you ask me what I dream, so we express it now in concrete and steel. It's very well established with suppliers. But finally, I'm dreaming about textile structures filled with water. So then you bring back, let's say, the building weight 99%. So that's a completely different story of building sector. The sector is now locked in building weight. So transport costs for building 30%. So it's a local economy with a lot of side events why it's locked in, more or less. So yes, I should like to, in case we are open to dream there about, let's say, and then the nice point is the energy system is the building structure itself. So as soon as that's enough to co-finance the energy, the building is for free, because the construction, in fact, is a storage system. So that's a completely different, okay, but that's a dream until now. Huh?
But that is exactly where you want to go to dream. Then talk with the people who work a lot with technology, and then discover that it's not the technical solution that holds us back, but the lock-in into our current system. So we don't want to change a thing in the current ecosystems. We want to think about ecosystems that also function, but are radically different than the world of today. And this is where the parties of the critical infrastructure of as ourselves are very interested in, because these are changes that will not happen next year, but probably or possibly within 40 years. And then it's good to dream.
I was invited for this event due to a concept about a blockchain carbon credit wallet for individuals. So that means we are looking for mechanisms in our today economy, which is financially based more or less, to co-finance this storage system. And one of the advantages is this zero emission aspect, and to make that accessible financially or valuable, or to validate it, we are looking for this wallet as a tool. I think I need at least people who can think about the concept. Perhaps it already exists, so then it's copy and paste, perhaps a little bit changing. Or on the other hand, it could be that we need coders, so that it is a team with people who can develop, let's say, the software being this tool. I want to make it completely open source, including my knowledge of today. So it means the process I'm looking here is to participate in hackathon-like atmospheres or groups to see what we could do together. And in case it is about ownership, I simply don't know. It's for me open. So what I actually tell people now, in case I implement my building concept, what is your business model? And I say, well, I don't know anymore. So for me, the experiment is not anymore my building concept. It's just stepping in a process and learning together the business model or your earning model. So that's actually the openness I'm now in. So I'm looking for people who are possibly in the same openness, and the hackathon, let's say, atmosphere feels as open as that.